A $100 jacket worn 5 times costs $20 per wear. A $500 blazer worn 200 times costs $2.50. The cheap option is 8 times more expensive. Most men never run that number. These 10 rules are what separates men who dress well from men who just spend well. Every rule is free. Every rule works today. Starting with a 5-second test you can do in any store, and ending with the one rule no amount of money can fix. Number 10, the 5-second fabric test. Next time you are shopping, pick up a shirt, a suit jacket, or a pair of trousers. Grab the fabric in your fist, squeeze for 5 seconds. Open your hand. If the fabric springs back and the wrinkles smooth out, you're holding quality material. Wool with natural resilience, cotton with a tight weave. These fibers have memory. They want to return to their original shape. If the fabric stays creased and bunched, the construction is weaker. Thin weave, low thread count, the kind of fabric that looks worn after a few months of regular use. This test works best on the fabrics you are most likely shopping for. Wool suits, cotton dress shirts, linen trousers. Quality wool has natural crimp built into the fiber. It recovers. Cheap wool blends and thin cotton do not. They hold every crease you give them. You do not need to read a label. You do not need to check a price tag. 5 seconds with your hand tells you more about the fabric than anything printed on the rack. The simplest quality test most men never learn, and it costs nothing. Number 9, know your 5 numbers. Most men do not know their own body measurements. They walk into a store, grab a medium, and hope for the best. Then they spend the next 8 hours tugging at a collar that is too tight or rolling sleeves that are too long. 5 numbers change everything. Chest, waist, inseam, neck, sleeve length. 5 measurements, 5 minutes with a tape measure, and suddenly 90% of bad purchases disappear. This is especially critical for online shopping. A medium at one brand is a large at another. Sizing is not standardized across the industry, but your body is constant. When you shop by measurement instead of label size, you stop guessing and start buying clothes that actually fit your frame. Write your 5 numbers down, store them in your phone, reference them every single time you buy. A $40 shirt in the right size looks better than a $200 shirt in the wrong one. 5 minutes of measurement prevents years of returns and thousands of dollars in clothes that never fit right. If you want to keep learning what most brands will never tell you, subscribe. We make these videos so you do not have to learn the hard way. Number 8, the dry cleaning trap. You are destroying your clothes trying to keep them clean. Most men over-dry clean everything. Suits after every wear, dress shirts after every meeting. The assumption is that dry cleaning preserves the garment. The opposite is true. Every dry cleaning cycle strips natural oils from wool. Those oils are what give the fabric its softness, drape, and resilience. Remove them and the fibers become dry, brittle. The fabric thins, the color fades, the garment ages years in a matter of months. On fused suits, the damage is worse. The chemicals and heat from dry cleaning accelerate the breakdown of the adhesive holding the interlining to the fabric. That is the bubbling and delamination we covered in our suits video. Dry cleaning does not just clean a fused suit, it destroys it faster. The alternative is simple. Brush your suit with a garment brush after every wear. Steam instead of iron. Hang it in open air between wears. Dry clean only when the fabric is genuinely soiled. 2 to 4 times per year is enough for most suits. A suit dry cleaned after every wear lasts 2 to 3 years. The same suit properly maintained lasts 8 to 10. Same garment, same price. 4 to 5 times the lifespan. The only difference is how you treat it. Number 7, the 30 wear test. Before you buy any piece of clothing, ask yourself one question. Will I wear this at least 30 times? If the answer is not an immediate yes, put it back on the rack. This single filter eliminates impulse purchases, trend buys, sale rack regrets. The jacket you grabbed because it was 70% off but never wore. The shirt that looked right under store lighting but sits folded in a drawer at home. Here is the math behind it. At 30 wears, a $90 item costs $3 per wear. That is the benchmark for smart spending. Below $3, you are extracting real value from the garment. Above it, you're paying rent on something you barely use. The average wardrobe contains a staggering number of items worn fewer than 10 times. Research suggests the average sits around 7 wears per item. That is not a wardrobe. That is a storage unit with hangers. The 30-wear test does not mean you only buy basics. It means you only buy things that earn their space. A navy blazer passes. A novelty jacket for one event does not. A well-fitted pair of dark jeans passes. A trend-driven pair you will abandon in 6 months does not. One question, 30 wears. Ask it every time. Your closet gets smaller. Your wardrobe gets better. Number 6, the Resolable shoe rule. Here is a math problem most men get wrong. 5 pairs of $80 cemented shoes over 15 years. Total cost $400. Every pair ends up in a landfill because a cemented sole is glued on. When it wears through, the shoe is finished. It cannot be repaired. 1 pair of $300 Goodyear welted shoes, resoled 4 times over the same 15 years at $75 per Resolable. Total cost $600. And you are still wearing them. The cemented route costs less on paper, but you get 5 disposable shoes. The welted route costs more up front, but you get 1 pair that lasts as long as you maintain it. Per year of ownership, the numbers converge. Except one option is still on your feet. The other is in 5 different landfills. This is the same principle from our suits video. Fused versus canvassed. Glue versus stitching. The parallel is exact. A cemented shoe is a fused suit for your feet. It cannot be rebuilt. It has a fixed expiration that starts counting down the moment you buy it. How to spot the difference in any store? Look at the edge where the sole meets the upper. If there is a visible line of stitching running around the perimeter, that is a welt. The sole is attached by thread. It can be replaced. If there is no stitching and the sole meets the upper in a clean sealed line, it is cemented. The sole is glued. When it goes, the shoe goes with it. One detail, one glance. It separates shoes you own from shoes you rent. Number 5, the logo tax. Here is something you start to notice after 30. The most expensive brands in the world use the smallest logos, or none at all. Loro Piana, Brunello Cucinelli, Zegna. You will not find their name printed across the chest of anything. No visible branding. No monograms on the outside, no embroidered emblems, and their prices run well into the thousands. Now compare that to the brands we covered in our first video. Tommy Hilfiger, Calvin Klein, Lacoste, maximum logo visibility, prominent branding on every piece, a fraction of the material quality. The pattern is consistent across the industry. The louder the logo, the more of your money funds marketing. The quieter the branding, the more goes into materials and construction. This is not a coincidence. It is a business model. Visible logos exist to advertise the brand to everyone around you. You are not the customer in that moment. You are the billboard. After 30, visible branding on your clothing signals one thing to the people who notice. You paid for the name, not the garment. The men who dress best tend to wear the brands you have never heard of. Because after a certain point, what you choose not to show says far more than what you do. Number 4, the pinch test. Pick up any suit jacket from a rack. Pinch the front chest panel between your thumb and forefinger. Grab both layers, the outer fabric and the inner lining. Gently roll them back and forth. If the layers move independently, if you feel a separate inner layer floating between them, there is canvas inside that jacket. That canvas gives the suit its structure. It molds to your body over time. It can be altered. It can be repaired. It is the mark of quality construction. If the layers feel stuck together, stiff, flat, no movement at all, the interlining is glued to the outer fabric. That is fused construction. The suit will not improve with wear. It will not mold. And once the adhesive fails, the jacket is finished. This 2-second test tells you more about a suit than the brand name on the label or the number on the price tag. It tells you what you are actually buying. We broke this down in detail in our suits video. 8 out of 11 brands we ranked were fused, some of them charging $400 and above for glued construction. The pinch test would have caught every single one before a dollar was spent. 2 seconds, 2 fingers. The most valuable test you will ever learn for buying a suit. Number 3, cost per wear. This is the formula that changes how you think about every piece of clothing you own. Price divided by number of wears equals cost per wear. A $200 fused suit worn 10 times before the chest bubbles. Cost per wear, $20. A $600 half canvas suit worn 200 times over a decade. Cost per wear, $3. The suit that costs 3 times more is nearly 7 times cheaper to own. That is not a style opinion, that is arithmetic. This formula exposes fast fashion as the most expensive way to dress. A $30 t-shirt worn 3 times costs $10 per wear. A $60 t-shirt worn 80 times costs 75 cents per wear. The cheap shirt is not cheap, it just looks cheap on the day you buy it. When you shift from asking how much does this cost to how much does this cost per wear, your entire approach changes. You stop chasing sales, you stop buying in volume, you start investing in pieces that earn their place over years, not weeks. This is the same principle that showed why brands like Uniqlo and Suit Supply deliver more value than brands charging 3 times their price. The price tag alone tells you nothing. The price tag divided by lifespan tells you everything. The average American buys 68 clothing items per year. Most are worn fewer than 10 times. Run cost per wear on that number. The result should make you uncomfortable. Cost per wear does not tell you what to buy. It tells you what is actually expensive. And most of the time, it is not the item with the highest number on the tag. Number 2, the Tailor Multiplier. A $100 shirt tailored for $50 fits better than a $250 shirt off the rack. That is not a theory. It is a fact most men never test because they have never set foot in a tailor's shop. Off-the-rack clothing is cut for a generic body, an averaged out set of proportions designed to fit a statistical middle. No man alive has that exact body. Every single off-the-rack garment is a compromise. A tailor removes the compromise. Sleeves shortened to the right break. Torso tapered to follow your natural line. Trousers hemmed to the exact length. These are not luxury adjustments. They are basic corrections that transform how clothing looks and feels on your specific frame. The math is straightforward. A $400 suit with $80 in alterations outperforms a $1,000 suit worn straight off the hanger. The tailored suit follows your body. The expensive suit follows a pattern built for someone else. Fit beats price, every time, without exception. Yet most men over 30 have never visited a tailor. They accept the fit the rack gives them. They assume that is how clothes are supposed to feel. It is not. Clothes are supposed to follow the body they are on, not the mannequin they came off. Here is the rule. Find one tailor, build a relationship with them, bring in every jacket, every blazer, every pair of trousers that almost fits but does not quite land. $50 to $80 of tailoring on a mid-range garment consistently outperforms hundreds of dollars spent on premium labels worn as is. That single relationship will save you more money over the next decade than any brand loyalty ever could. A tailor does not make cheap clothes expensive. A tailor makes any clothes yours. That is the multiplier. And finally, number 1, the shoulder test. This is the top of the list for one reason. It is the only rule on this countdown that cannot be broken, and the only fit problem that money cannot fix. A tailor can shorten sleeves, take in a waist, hem trousers, taper a torso. Every fit issue from rule number 2 can be corrected by a skilled tailor for a reasonable cost. Except the shoulders. The shoulder seam is structurally set into the jacket. Altering it requires deconstructing the entire upper garment, relocating the sleeve head, reshaping the chest panel, rebuilding the shoulder line from scratch. The cost starts at $150 and runs past $400. The result is almost never worth it. Every tailor in the industry will say the same thing. Do not buy it if the shoulders do not fit. When you try on any jacket, blazer, suit, or overcoat, check the shoulders first. The seam should sit exactly where your natural shoulder ends, not past it, not before it, right on the edge where the shoulder drops off toward the arm. If the seam hangs past your natural shoulder, the jacket will always look too large. No amount of tailoring elsewhere can fix that visual. If the seam sits too far inward, the jacket will pull and restrict across the upper body. No tailor will recommend altering it. This is the one measurement that separates every good-fitting jacket from every poorly fitting one. It takes 3 seconds to check, it costs nothing, and it cannot be corrected after the purchase. Every other rule on this list makes you smarter about what you buy. This one makes sure you never spend money on something that will never fit right. That is why it is number 1. 10 rules, every one free, every one available right now. The difference between dressing well and spending well was never about the size of the budget. It was about knowing what to look for before you open your wallet. Subscribe if you want more. Drop a comment with the rule you wish you had learned sooner. If you want to see which clothing brands are overcharging you for logos, watch our first video. If you want to know which suit brands failed the construction test, watch the second. Both are on screen now.